Welcome to Smalltalk Daily for Friday, February 13, 2009. This morning I'd like to go through the ListBox example again. If you recall yesterday, we got this working so that we were displaying 4 arbitrary objects and printing them in a way in our ListBox with their last name, comma, first name. Today we're going to show you how to get the selection, the current selection from the ListBox. So what we're going to do first is go back to our controller class, and we're going to add a stub method here. So I'm going to put in inspect_it. And that'll be our stub method. We'll get to writing the code for it later. What I'm going to do is put that aside. And now we're going to go over to our controller and we're going to edit it. Context click, bring that up. What we want to do is we want to add a new form item. So we're going to go to New Item, select the button here, drag it over, drop it in here, move it over a little bit so it displays. Now I'm going to double click on it so I can get the editor up. I want to call this inspect_it to match the little stub I put in before, put a question mark for the text, and now what I need to do is hit methods. And it's going to show me all the available methods, including the stub that I added. I'm going to copy that over to the assigned methods, and that binds this button to that method. So I hit OK, and that'll actually work now. So let's hit OK on that, close that. Now we need to save this, so we'll do a file, save. Leave that aside, let it overwrite. Close this down. So with that done, we now go back to our controller and we find that we have our inspect_it method. This is blank. What we want to do though is get the currently selected object. So what we're going to do is something pretty simple. We're just going to say ListBox1, which is what we called it, get selection. That gets the current selection. And to show that it's doing that, I'm going to do an inspect. So we'll just bring up an inspector on it. So not terribly exciting functionality, but it should show us that we're getting the selection. So let's double click. Select something in here, hit the question, and there it's showing us that we're getting a 3. And why is it a 3? Well, if you recall from our demo yesterday, first element has a value 1, 2, 3. So we have these objects and we just gave them values of numbers. So they really should have the values of the objects, but that's not really the way we did it. So that's showing us what we expect. Now, next question. How would I make this list box multiple select, and what would I get back from it if I did that? Well, let's go back to the design editor and bring that up. Now we double click on the list box this time, and we come in here to options. Under options, notice one of these things here is multiple selections. So we select that, hit OK, hit OK again, do a file, save, let that go, don't worry about overwriting, and we'll close this down. Now with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and double click on it, select this. Now we'll use the standard Windows keys to select 2 items. Hit the question. Notice now we get back a collection, an array of the 2 things we selected. So it works exactly the way you expect. The API is the same. Get selection gets us back either the current selection of 1 item or the current selection of as many items as are selected. Let's make no selections in the list. So we'll hit Control on both of these and deselect everything. Hit that. And notice we get back an empty array. So we get back exactly what we expect. So that's pretty much it for today. We now have an idea of how to get the current selection from a list box. We know how to set up things to bind a method to a button, and we know how to get all this to work. One last thing I want to go over. When I was saving in the design editor, so when I do this, close this down, go back to the design editor, when I do this file save, what it saves out is just the controller. So in terms of the package stuff, when I come down here to our list example, it doesn't save both these classes, it just saves the test controller. If I want to save this entire package, what I want to do is right click on this, and I want to publish this as a Smalltalk archive, publish it to a store database, or file it out. So that's what I want to do if I want to save the entire thing. Keep that in mind when you're working with ObjectStudio. So that's about it for today. Until next time, have fun with Smalltalk.